Hey everyone, Caront here, welcoming you back to Tales of the Abyss. In the last episode, we discovered that Luke is, in reality, a clone of Ash. Luke is still in the City of Watchers, Yulia's city, with Tyr. However, we are following Ash. And the rest of the party, everyone else of course here, going to the City of Belkend. Now, we apparently just couldn't go straight to Belkend. We went to the port first for, well, whatever reason. There's not very many, honestly. In this episode, we're going to go ahead and head into Belkend itself and see if we can meet with the researchers there to figure some stuff out about how to stop Van, basically. So let's go ahead and head on in. Welcome to the City of Fon Machines, Belkend. Now, there's another City of Fon Machines that we will see later on that I like a lot more, but yeah, like I said, we'll see it later. Belkend's okay. It's not great. It's okay. By the way, come in, push this switch here. You can see the treasure chest open up there. Hello! Welcome to Belkend, where they have a phone laboratory, which is the main reason why we're here in the first place. Get an orange gel there, and what I want to do before I move forward is to go ahead and pick up supplies in the inn, because the next area we're going to, yeah, we're gonna need them. Now, unfortunately, we can't replace any of Ash's equipment. Well, not that we want to with any of this stuff anyway, but I am going to, let's see, let me go ahead and buy a rapier for Guy. And it is, let's see, I'm probably not going to have Annis in my active party right now, so I'm not going to equip her, really. Let's see, other stuff though, I am going to get new armor for Natalia, and let's see, Jade, okay, and well, alright, apparently everybody needs new stuff, so yeah, let's go ahead and do it, and get this equipped accordingly, of course. Now, the main reason I want to make sure that we do that is because we're going to, obviously, an area of the game with these guys, which we haven't gone to yet, but more importantly, we're going to be going to that area without Tyr. Tyr is, of course, our most reliable healer, so, well, we want to make sure we're prepared. Of course, we will be bringing Natalia along, so there is that, and I keep forgetting to go to her, why? So, yeah, we will have Natalia, but at the same time, though, Natalia is just not quite the quality of healer that Tyr is, so I want to be prepared for that. I also want to get some more, basically, gels and such things, because we will want to make it a habit, really from here on out, to try to keep ourselves as well stocked as possible, at least with the basics. Belkend is not a particularly good place to buy them right now because, prices are really, really high. So if you want to hold off on buying a lot of stuff, it's okay. I've got 12 magic lenses, so I think I'm good. But you at least want to have apple gels on hand, just in case you need them for healing purposes. You will see, as we go through Belkend, there are several treasures laying around for us to get. However, we cannot get them yet. Why, might you ask? Because, well, take your example, that treasure down there next to the train set. It is dependent on Mew. We, of course, do not have Mew because Mew is staying with Luke, so we can't get them yet. One thing we can do, though, go under this little area here, go through the skit, and talk to the ladder, pretty much. Or whatever that is, I guess. What are you looking at? Yeah, I got stuck. I fell. I didn't think that was gonna happen. Yeah, let's go ahead and help him out. What? Really? You'll help me? Thanks. You're actually a nice guy, huh? Of course, you know how well Ash will ever react to something like that. Wow, thanks a bunch. I owe you one. I was running an errand, but I got curious. I wandered over here and, well, fell in. Why in the world would you get curious about a spot like this is my question, but oh well. To show my appreciation, let me give you this. I found it down there. And we pick up the recipe for soba noodles! Which then leads to the second question. What in the world is a recipe for soba noodles, doing down the middle of a freaking hole? Let's just go with it. If no one had ever found me, man, it's scary just thinking about it. Anyway, thanks! Okay, so we got a recipe out of it. There's not really a whole heck of a lot else we can do while we're here. We can go down to the bottom, though. I don't know why I thought there was treasure here. I seem to have been mistaken. Let's see. Guess not. Okay. Oh, shame on me. This, I think we could talk to. Yeah, well, we can talk to it, but it doesn't really do much of anything. All right. So let's go ahead and move on forward then. Make our way up to the Fon Lab, which is right over this away, and we will see what we can do while we're here. Now, this Fon Lab, if you're not careful, can be kind of confusing because it's pretty extensive and a lot of the rooms look the same. But what you'll want to do is pretty much every time you go in, go north, and there are only really 2 or 3 other rooms that you'll want to worry about. One of them actually is over here to the right, which is the medical room, i.e. the doctor's office. And it is home to Dr. Shu, who will be a relatively important NPC later in the game, but not yet. But more importantly, we can start getting some treasures in here, such as the Warrior Maiden, and I'll show it to you in a minute. I don't think there's anything else we can get. Okay, not there anyway. Let me through. But we can also go in here and pick up nothing in that one, but in this one we can grab a dark seal. Let's see, I think that's it for treasure in here. Yes, that's it. All right, let me go ahead and show these to you. The Warrior Maiden actually is something for Annis. It is one of her dolls. The Warrior Maiden, as it mentions, raises various combat abilities. So if you're not too tied to the critical rate, this is actually pretty good to go ahead and equip because you notice it ups her physical and phonic attack by 50, useful on both counts. The Dark Seal increases experience by 1.5 times, which is great. However, it also has those caveats to it as well. Increases enemy damage and seals your arts. I don't find this to be particularly necessary, to be quite honest. I'm going to hang on to it and sell it when the time comes. But if you want to use that, if you want to catch a character up, that is something that is certainly useful. But if you do use that, stick close to a town or have a good healer on hand. Otherwise, you might be in trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and equip the Warrior Maiden, and we shall soldier on. Now, there are only a couple of other rooms that you'll really want to worry about. There's not a lot of places in here that you will overly have to go exactly. The plot's going to demand you go to a couple of places. One of them actually is this room here. We're not going to worry about it now because we just don't need to. What we will need to worry about is going into the replica laboratory here, where we will find lots of wonderful researchers. I think there's treasure here. I'm not certain, so I'm going to roam around here a little bit. Forgive me about my treasure knowledge being not quite so astute. I am actually at the end of my notes that I had typed up, mostly because I lost 10 pages of them thanks to computer crashes. Yay! So I'm going to be recomposing them. However, I cannot right now because, well, I just hadn't had time and I hadn't been able to get everything together. Now, Kathy and Henkin, we will officially meet them in a minute, although they are standing there now. We can technically meet them. But they will be, to some degree, relatively kind of more minor NPCs, I guess. But we'll be talking and dealing with them.
Luke. No. Ash.
Hello, Spinoza. A little bit later into the game, we will hate your guts. And then a little bit further in the game, we will hate your guts even more. And then toward the end of the game, we will not hate your guts quite as much, but
So the traitor to Kimlaska still lives here in this city. What a joke.
What do you mean, traitor?
This guy was involved in my kidnapping.
Don't tell me you're the one who broke the ban on phomicry.
It's just as you imagine, Jade.
Jade, the necromancer.
Applying phomicry to living creatures is forbidden.
Every phomicry researcher longs to try it at least once. You're no different, Jade Curtis. Or should I say, Dr. Jade Balfour. You're the father of phomicry. You made dozens of replicas.
I won't deny it. I am the one who proposed the principles of phomicry.
Then you have no right to criticize me.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm not interested in mutual wound-licking. I have no intention of covering for someone just because they've committed the same sin as I. I'm well aware of what I've done. That's why I forbade it. the replication of living organisms presented both technical and ethical problems. You, a Fomacry researcher, should know well the fate of the first replicas of living creatures.
All I did was help with Van's preservation project. I figured if all we were doing was recording the replica information.
Preservation project? What are you talking about?
You didn't know?
Tell us!
I can't. I shouldn't have mentioned it at all.
Alright, so we get a new title for Jade, the father of Fomacry. Go figure. Who'd have thunk that he was the one who created this whole thing in the first place? Alright, so now that we are done with that, there's not really much else for us to do here. We just need to basically make our way out and go accordingly. But first, let's go ahead and get this skid up here. And if we try to go into this room, we get nothing! Not even a blank page saying, hey, guess what? You're not allowed to enter here. We literally get zilch as far as the text box. Why? I have no clue. However, that's the way we've got it. Alright, so let's go ahead and make our way out to here. And then we've got, well, one other thing to do as far as questing goes, or side questing goes, before we get to our next ultimate destination. This is no good. We're out of Fonamin. We can't make replicas without it. Already? The next trip to Orshan Cavern to collect more is still a ways off. The cave itself is convenient, but having to go all the way to Rhodesia to get to it sure isn't. So that gives us the hint as to what we're doing next. Or at least where we're going next, anyway. But for now, all we really need to do is just make our way out of here, which fortunately isn't too terribly bad. But when we get to the door, we will discover, well, yeah, things are going to change just a little bit before we go gallivanting off.
Why is Van collecting replica data? What does he plan to do with it? Well, I'd assume he's going to make replicas.
We're going to Orshan Cavern.
The cave on the western continent of Rhodesia? But why?
I presume he intends to investigate the replica issue. Phonamine can be gathered there. And? Well, you know, Rhodesia is Kimloskin territory. Malkuth can't interfere. Dist was originally a researcher from Malkuth. It's a logical place for him to go after stealing Fomacry technology.
Enough talk. Let's get going.
Boo! Do you really think we should go, Ion?
Yes. For now, let's do what he says.
I'm getting off here.
Why?
I'm worried about Luke. I have to go back for him.
I don't believe you. Who cares about that idiot?
I do, because he's an idiot. I don't know what he'd do alone. And I have faith that he can get past this.
Guy, you're Luke's attendant and his friend. The real Luke is right here.
This may be the real Luke, but my friend is that idiot.
Thanks, Guy.
It's up to you if you want to go back for him. But how do you intend to return to Yulia City?
Aramis Spring. It's a cave northwest of Doth. If the replica comes back to the Outer Lands, he'll pass through there.
Thanks, Ash.
I knew you'd choose him.
Did Van tell you? Well, that's not the only reason.
What are you talking about?
Nothing. See ya.
Luke, aren't you going to stop him?
Don't call me by that name. It's no longer mine.
Alright, so we are guileless, which means, yes, Annis will be in our party. Yeah, so make sure that she has some decent equipment at least. I think she should be okay, especially with Warrior Maiden. Alright, but for now, let's go ahead and make our way out of Belkend because, well, there's really nothing else we can do here. And there is one thing we do need to do before we make our way over to Orshan Cavern. It shouldn't take too long. It's a little side quest that actually will help out Natalia. In order to get there, we will actually need to make our way out of Belkend here and go back to the port because, well, we have to go back to the port. Blech. Oh, okay. Well, we get to see Ash fight, and we get to cook with Ash and have ourselves a nice little Ashy experience. Now, as I mentioned, Ash is a hybrid character. He is a physical and a magical fighter, so it kind of depends on how you want to deal with it. But you've always got to be careful as far as if you want to use magic. He, of course, is privy to the same rules of magic like everybody else. He has to stand there and wait for a minute while he's casting his spell, and if anybody runs into him, unless he has the appropriate add skill perk, he will get knocked on his butt and the spell's going to be off. So you'll want to be careful with that if you want to use Ash as more of a magical character. I don't particularly do so. Like I mentioned, I'm not a big fan of hybrids for whatever reason. I guess I just like my party's roles to be pretty clearly defined. Unless, well, I mean, there are a few exceptions, but for the most part, yeah, that's generally a good way to go with it. But I will try and at least get one spell off with the guy, and only to find that it's not going to work anyway. Oh well. But that pretty much wraps it up for him. One thing actually I will point out about Ash, I didn't even know this until I was just tooling around after the last episode. I want you to take a look at his add skill list. Not that you'll ever actually have the opportunity, really, to get all of his add skills. I mean, technically you could, but my god, the time. But I want you to notice something. As we're going through this, you notice something that's not on Ash's page that is on everybody else's, and that is add skills that you can't get. Ash is one of 2 characters in the game that can get every single add skill. The other character, incidentally, is Annis. So, just a little tidbit that I discovered as I was finishing up the episode, so it just goes to prove that, again, even if you're doing an LP on a game, you still learn new stuff, which is fantastic. For now, though, let us head back to the Tartarus, and we can do some sailing. Presumably for Ocean Cavern, but we're not going to go there quite yet. We're actually going to discover a new location first. Now where, pray tell, is that location, you might be asking yourself? Actually, it's not very far away at all. All we really gotta do is sail over this way, and we almost run ourselves into a bunch of land. Okay, here we go. Yeah, sorry, I had to cite myself for a second. All we really need to do is actually sail over here and go north along the coast. Because, well, our next destination is pretty much already staring us in the face. It is, in fact, right there. Let's go ahead and pull up to this new location and, well, discover why we are heading over this way. Welcome to Port Sheridan. We will be going to Sheridan itself later, but for now, our only business really concerns the port, because if we head over here, we run into this chap. After we escorted you all the way to the port, you're telling us you can't even pay a measly 10,000 gold? Don't be absurd. I already paid you 5,000. That was just the advance. Now give us all you've got. Give that back. That's all the money I own. What do you think you're doing? What? We're having an important discussion here, lady. Don't interfere. But you cannot treat an elderly man in such a fashion. I'm telling you to shut up. How dare you? You want to make something of it? What's going on, Natalia? Hey, there's a Malkuthian soldier with them. What's he doing in Kimlaska? It'd be stupid to take on the army. Time to get out of here. Stop! I won't let you get away. Return what you took from this man. So they do. Thank you. It seems I fell for an escort scam by some less than friendly fellows. I am in your debt. Not at all. Are you injured? No, thank you. By the way, am I correct in observing that you use Landvaldir-style archery? My, I'm impressed you recognize it. I thought so, and you appear to be quite skilled. Yes, I've achieved master rank. I thought so. When I was young, I was actually an instructor of Landvaldir-style archery. If it's alright with you, as thanks for aiding me, I'd like to pass on my arts to you. My, are you certain? I don't want to trouble you. Of course. In total, I created 2 kinds of arts. Until now, I've not encountered anyone capable of using them and have been unable to pass them on. But perhaps Lorelei has blessed us with this meeting. I see. Yes, please. I would be honored for you to teach me. I imagine it will take time for you to pass on your arts. May I ask where you're headed? I was headed for Doth. Then let us take you there in the Tartarus. You can conduct the training along the way. No, we already have plans. Oh, this is for Natalia, Ash. Please, Ash. Yeah, fine. Yep, Ash does have a soft spot after all. Poke, poke. Thank you, Ash. I'm Natalia. What's your name? Please, call me Nick. All right, Master Nick. Let us proceed at once to Doth. So, in one fell swoop, we actually get to discover another new location. Port Doth, or Doth Bay as they decide to call this one. Not sure why, though. Thank you very much for taking me all the way to Doth. Well, it's not that far, actually. It is I who should be grateful. Thank you for your patient instruction aboard the ship. You performed admirably. The arcane art Gallant Barrage is now yours. All that remains is for you to master it through actual use. And so, yeah, there we go. Right, I will. For the remaining art, I'll teach you that at our next opportunity. Until then, I'll polish my skills. Thank you, Master. Alright, so that's pretty much all there is to that. Now, of course, we can make our way unfettered to Orshan Cavern. And I'll go ahead and point out on the map where it is because I'm going to actually fast forward until we get to that point, not the direction I wanted to go. Alright, Orshan Cavern is right down the middle, center on, right here. There we go. It's a little ways away from where we are at present, not terribly far, but a fair bit. So, I will actually go ahead and cast off, and I will see you guys when we get to Orshan Cavern. Alright, here we are, and one thing I do want to point out actually while we're in the area, if you see this and you try to go through this whirlpool, it will actually stop you from doing so. Because, well, that is an area that we will consider later in the game. We will be able to get to it, we just don't quite have the power to do so yet. Now the true entrance to Orshan Cavern is right here, so let's go ahead and head on in. Welcome to Orshan Cavern. Kinda spooky, don't you think?
It's awfully damp in here. It's probably because of the sea breeze.
Please wait in the Tartarus, Ion.
But I'm interested too.
No, it's too dangerous.
Go back, Phone Master. You'll be in our way.
Oh well.
Go ahead and take him with you. Are you stupid? What are we going to do with someone who can't fight?
Let's go inside.
Alrighty, so we have the cavern here. I am actually going to go ahead and save that for next time, though. Because next time on Tales of the Abyss, we're going to go through Orshan Cavern and have ourselves pretty well challenged by a really tough boss. And then, well, we'll see if we can rejoin Luke from there. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see y'all later.